Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by today. Sorry for leaving you guys hanging, but I ran into rain and all sorts of crap just happened and it didn't work out with the rain and the weather. It's just a spotty shower that hopped up on me. So anyways, we got the window in. I've got some final urethane to put it around in the top. Basically, we're gonna kind of peel back this gasket here and pump some urethane back there as well. Now, by no means is this perfect. This gasket was an absolute pain in the ass. It just didn't stay on the bottom as well as I thought it would stay. The gasket really, realistically, is there for looks to cover the gap because there is a slight gap around the whole window. So it is what it is. There's no right way, there's no wrong way to do this. If I was to do this again, I would completely do it differently. And I would definitely use a second set of hands. Having only one set of hands is an absolute pain in the... You know, so it's just get yourself a second set of hands when you do a project like this. It makes life a lot easier. Now that I will show you guys the bolts that I used, I didn't actually use the top studs. So if I was to do this again, I would actually cut the top studs off and only use the two side studs that are on the inside, which I'll show you guys here in a second after we get this pan ready. What we're gonna do today for part 2 of this video is we're gonna get the pan ready. We're gonna get the pan installed. And then in the next video, I'll wire it up for you guys. Without wasting any time here, I have the pan here. I already have my measurements all set out for what I need. What I did to get my measurements is I bolted this part of the window actuator with the window all the way up. And then I was able to see where these measurements here were for this pan to bolt in. And this you can kind of just pick a good spot for it to bolt in. So for a good reference for you guys, I'm actually gonna leave bigger holes drilled in here so that these screws, which all of these screws, if you're wondering, the screws for this and the screws for this, if you don't have them, are M6. Since these are M6 screws, I am actually gonna leave a little bit of a bigger hole for this to screw into. So basically what I did here is I took a 1-hole measurement of one of the holes, and it's a 19.5-inch measurement from the bottom of the pan, and then from the outside, it was gonna be a 14-inch measurement. So right there is my very first hole for my motor right here. Now all I'll do is I'll measure from the side to here. I'll get this evened out. So like I said, I'm gonna end up using a 5/16 bit, and it makes it just a little bit bigger than the actual bolt itself. And that will allow me that little bit of wiggle room I'll actually need. Again, these are M6 flange bolts. Here's the exact flange bolt that it is. That's for all the mounting points on this. So what I'm gonna do now is, now I got my one measured out, I'm gonna go ahead and actually mount this guy to this first part. And now with that one being mounted up there, I can take this now and pivot it and make sure I line it up nice and level. So as you see here, I got these holes drilled out right there. Got that one drilled out. Now as far as the motor, you only really it only comes with 2 screws because this is actually a brand new motor that I sourced from a Toyota dealer. This was actually a really big pain to get. So if you're gonna do this, you're gonna have to steal a VIN number from like a local junkyard and able to get this motor, because they need the VIN number and able to issue the motor. Right here, you have a screw here and a screw down here. You simply just have to mark that area because this doesn't have to be perfect. This motor is a very nice loose motor and it just operates this cable. So as long as it stays in place and you can find the best spot for it, like I'm gonna try and shoot for this, you don't have to be exactly 100% accurate with it, which is very, very nice. You're gonna go ahead and mark like this. I'm gonna do something like this kind of. I'll do the same thing right here. Just kind of mark it and almost center point it. And now I can just drill out, you know, pretty much right there. So now that you have all your holes drilled out, you're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take this one off now, and we're gonna go inside the truck and we're gonna mount this into the inside of the truck. All right, so this is how it looks on the inside of the truck. And right now we're gonna go ahead and get this mounted, the motor mounted to this point right here. And I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm gonna do for my defrost, because I gotta kind of pre-wire this before I do anything. And I wanna make sure I show you this because today we're gonna go ahead and get the pan installed. So I'm able to do that, I wanna make sure I have everything I need for you guys on the inside, getting this ready for your defrost wire. So again, these are M6 bolts, like I said before. I'm gonna keep reiterating that. Just basically lift this up, get your first one in. Once you got your first one in, get that nice and tight, and then go ahead. Once you get your first one in, it makes life a lot easier, so make sure you go ahead and get that nice and tight. And then your second one will actually go pretty easy. So this is what it'll exactly look like. Now, I don't know if you can see back here or not. Let's see if I can get you on this side. Yeah, if you see there, you see that the back of the bolt actually touches this metal. That's actually okay. That's why you need to, if you look down here, there's this lip here. I completely cut this lip off in this section here. I gotta obviously clean it up a little bit. I'm gonna spray some primer over this raw metal here, but then that's okay because that metal is just gonna slide up and down on this point here, and you don't have to worry about it cutting through your sheet metal or your back of your wall. It's not gonna harm anything. There's a lot of guys that have done this. It works out pretty good. But that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get this set up now, because in the next step, I'm gonna show you we gotta drill some holes for some draining, because that's the whole point of the drain pan. Get the drain pan mounted to the inside of the truck, and hopefully finish up this video pretty quick for you guys for part 2. Part 3 is obviously the wiring, so make sure you stay tuned for that. That'll be the following week. Like I said, there's gonna be a multiple step process video, dragged out for a while because it kind of landed on me having vacation. But unfortunately my vacation is down in Texas, so I'm not home to be able to work on my truck. So you'll see photos on Instagram and stuff like that of me down in Texas, but this isn't gonna be finished by the time when I'm in Texas, so the window will be in, but I'll have to wire it up when I get back from Texas to show you guys exactly how to do it. I could personally wire it up really quickly, but I want to make sure I show you guys because it's very crucial, and because with this connector, there's 4 wires that you got to cut off with the connector, and you only use 2 of the 4 wires. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Let's finish up, get this pan installed. Next step here is we've got this carpet here, right? And I peeled this carpet, cut this carpet back and peeled it back for when I install the drain pan. And now the reason why is because we're going to have to drill a few good size holes in the floor here so that the water that comes down, because it is gonna leak, you guys, so that the water that comes down through this window has a point to drain out and not drain into the truck. I'll show you here, I used the same exact size drill bit as the other one, and I drilled 4 holes. I got one here, one here, one here, and another one there. And that's just simply so that when water gets into it, whether you're driving or braking on a hill or on a back hill, that it has 4 decent spots to drain the water out of your truck. Now, like I said, I am gonna go ahead and spray some primer down in that, because you're gonna want to make sure, especially if you're in the rust belt, anytime you expose raw metal, you wanna make sure you go ahead and spray primer on it. All right, so my measurements were completely wrong. So when I was paying attention to how I orientated this pan, I was not paying attention to the tabs that he has. So he has these tabs here that line up perfectly for what we need. They fold these down, you can zip screw these right through, and I completely forgot about that. So I put the motor mount on the wrong side. So I'm gonna have to, you know, silicone that or duct seal these holes. Now I have to re-drill all my holes. Again, this is what you get for doing something that's custom to a truck that's not made for a truck. So make sure you keep that in mind. Make sure you go in with this with an open mind, because not everything is gonna go right. Not everything is gonna go as planned. And again, I will say it again and again and again. Make sure you do this with 2 people, because having that second mind to be like, hey, maybe you should stop and do this, and maybe you should double check this, is a huge help when you need it in a time like this. So that being said, I'll see you back at this second again. I'm gonna go ahead and remeasure all my holes to make sure I line them up in the right spot so we can get this pan mounted in the right spot. All right, so I got my pan installed besides these 2 bottom holes. I've got it mounted to the motor bracket, but I don't have these two bottom screws down here because they actually aren't M6s. So I'm gonna have to do some digging on the hardware store and figure out what this is. So it'll be a nice little trip. And we're gonna go ahead next and zip screw these to the sides of the truck. You got them on the sides there, and then you've got 2 on the bottom that he sends you. And this is like a full-blown pre-bent kit. It really works out really nicely. As you can see here, this is very clean. For other things you see online, I fully believe this is the best install you can get. The gasket, the pan, you know, the only thing he doesn't supply you with is hardware. He's not going to supply you with the actual motor and the motor and the window. He's not going to supply you with this caulk, but he will supply you with the urethane and the gaskets. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and run to the hardware store real quick. I'll be back for you guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find those because my hardware store local to me doesn't really have a lot of stuff. I looked here and I didn't have to actually do this, so I'm going to show you guys that in the future when I do wire up this whole assembly here. I'm going to show you what you have to do for this defrost. I thought this was going to be underneath, but it's actually right here, so it's nice and easy. All right, so I got the truck in the garage here because it was a completely different day now. It got rainy. I've had things happen just after I put the pan in and got it in place. I've got the silicone in right now, and I'll show you guys that here in a second. I'll leave the silicone link in the description below. I will leave the guy who built this kit, I'll leave his Instagram in the description below, as well as my Instagram in the description below. So if you have not already, go ahead and follow me on Instagram so you get updates. You know, like as I went on vacation in Dallas and we drove across from Wisconsin all the way down to Dallas. The truck did great, by the way. But because I don't get good lighting, I have to use my light for you guys. I went ahead and ran silicone all the way down here. I'll show you that silicone here in a second. I siliconed all my other holes and stuff like that. Put a lot of silicone on. I put a ton of silicone on. So it's gonna take a while to cure, and we're gonna wire this up then in the next video. But like I said, here is the silicone that I used for that pan. I think it's a good quality silicone. I'll make sure I check it every now and then to see if it cracks or separates from the metal, but it should create a really good bond. Make sure you guys stay tuned for next week, because we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start wiring this up. I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm gonna do, what switch I'm gonna use, you know, how I'm gonna run the wires. I'm gonna show you exactly how to get that defrost wired in, because you're gonna, if you're up north like me, you're gonna wanna make sure you rewire your defrost. A lot of guys in the south that do this don't do it. I actually think they even cut it off because, let's be honest, you don't really need it. So that being said, make sure you guys go ahead and like this video and hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, please hit that bell button so you get those notifications. We're gonna go ahead and get this wired up for you guys next week. I'm very excited. This all lined up for when I went on vacation, so that's why these videos are very spread out, you know, just because family comes first in my mind. I hope you guys are enjoying the Nissan Titan window. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait for you guys to see it actually operate. Like I said, follow me on Instagram below. Go ahead and make sure you check out all the links for this product, what I'm installing. I don't have a window for you. You're gonna have to source that yourself. That was the hardest part about this process, was sourcing the right window. That being said, have yourselves a great night, a great weekend, and we'll see you in the next one.